Well, we are out here today doing a real little pain in the butt job. I hear a saw up there, Victor's up there somewhere in this orchard. We're doing some scattered trees. And here are some grafts that we did, 5 or 6 years ago. You can see the graft union, how they're growing. They've healed up very nicely. And that's why you put on more than one graft, is to heal that stump up. You don't need all those grafts to make your leader, but he's braided some of these to help the wind, keep the wind from breaking them out. I'm not a big fan of that. It makes a place for your bugs to hide, and it's hard to get the good penetration with your spray materials. And he says he's starting to feel the same way about it. He won't do it again, but you know, we have to experiment and learn as we go along. So I think he left these trees for pollen, the ones that we're grafting now, and then discovered that this variety maybe was self-pollinating. And so we'll come back in and grafted these trees. Now Victor just did this one this morning, and I think they're Honeycrisp. We're going to, but I have a special little project I'm going to show you. He's got one cherry tree over here that the mice have girdled. If we don't do something with it, it will die. I mean, they have girdled it all the way around. The mice can eat the bark off of the tree maybe halfway around, and it'll kind of heal up and be okay. But once you cut off that flow and that cambium all the way around, it's a goner. And this is one of those trees, and they've planted these little trees here. This technique that we're going to do here, what we're doing is called INARCHing. You plant a little tree at the base, and then you INARCH graft the top end to the stump. That gives that tree a new root system. I'm gonna get down here and see if I can get out of my own shadow and show you the damage that's here. You can see right there the mice have eaten all the way down to the hardwood, and it's all the way around the tree. It is totally girdled. So as I said, if we didn't do what we're doing, this tree would die. They planted a geese rootstock here, 5 of them, little baby trees around the trunk here, and I'm going to go ahead and graft the top in, and then when these roots get established and start taking up nutrients, it will flow up through this tree. The calcing cells where the graft heals in will differentiate and become vascular cells. So it has a vascular system, vascular vein. It has veins that will feed the nutrients into this tree and save its precious little life. So I'm going to see if I can get this camera set up. I don't have my tripod. The other day I brought my tripod and forgot my SD card, and today I have my SD card and no tripod. So I'm just not very well organized. I'll find a bucket or a toolbox or something to set this camera on so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Be right back. Okay, hopefully this is going to be in frame for you guys. See what I'm doing. We're talking about getting out of my own shadow, and that's pretty hard to do because a fellow like me casts a pretty large shadow. But I'm going to see if I can do this where you can see. What I'm going to do is kind of measure up here where I think this is going to wind up. I think this is going to be about the end of my graft right here. So what I'm going to do is prepare a receiving slot for this in the bark. I'm going to go down and cut it about there. That's pretty thick bark. I have done a lot of this INARCHing over mouse damage and bridge grafting over mouse damage throughout the years. I've done a lot of it on apples, but I am trying to recall, and I just don't think that I've ever INARCHed cherry trees before, but I spoke with my mentor, the gentleman that owns the local nursery here, Mr. Pete Van Well. He's I think he's about 86 years old, still going strong, and he and I have decided we're never going to retire, either one of us. But he's further along than I am. Anyway, he says that it'll work. Just do it just like you do apples. And see, the bark kind of thick on this, and being an older cherry tree, there's some pretty thick bark on it. And I'm gonna take it down. There we go. Now I'm down to the hardwood. You can, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but that's starting to sweat right there. And I'm gonna make a nice little channel for this sign to sit in there, because I don't want the bark to cause it to sit up off the wood. I want this to lay nice and flat on the wood once I'm getting ready to put it in. So what I'll do now is split this bark. Boy, it's thick and it's hard, but I think I got it. And now we'll see if it lifts up off the hardwood. And it does. I can hear it actually. Yeah, it's coming up off the wood real well, real nice. So now what I want to do is I want to make a cut. That is, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the excess here, but I'm going to make a cut so that when I slip it under the bark, the end of my graft will be up under this protected bark here. It won't be exposed down here on this open part. So that's going to be the end of my graft right there. And I'm making that cut on the back side so that it'll lay nice and flat. You don't want the cut to be too much this way or too much this way. You want it to be nice and flat. And I've got to cut it just a little more to one side. I was off just a little bit. Now I've got it. When I push that in, that's going to lay flat. So you want to kind of start bending this tree, work it in. We use a little tree so they're more pliable. And slip that right out of the bark. Now, that's sitting nice and flat on the hardwood. On an apple tree, normally I would not trim this bark back, but since it's so thick on this cherry, I'm going to get rid of a little bit of that bark, because the nails I use are 1x18 wire nail. Don't use a galvanized nail. That's a no-no. So I'll put that kind of angled in on one side and snug that down. And then we're gonna go over to the other side a little bit. If you can see that, I've got this one angled in this way. I'm gonna bring this one over here, angle in the other way, because if you line both those nails up in the center, it will split the sign. So this way, it doesn't split, snugs it up really nice, and that's a nice clean graft right there. Now, when Victor gets finished over there doing his scattered work, he'll send one of his guys over here and paint this wound. We'll cover all that wounded area, and that'll heal in and begin to callus and heal to the tree, and then pretty soon it will start delivering nutrients from the root system right on into this one, and this little guy will never know what happened. It'll never know it was damaged. One more thing to say, there's another technique. If the mice have eaten only maybe up to this area, or if they've eaten above this area, is what I meant to say. If the damage is up here, sometimes we can take a whip and graft into the bottom and go up over that damage and graft into the top if the damage is in this area, and that's called bridge grafting. But since it's eaten right on down into the roots where we cannot make a graft in there, then we do this and plant a little tree, and it's called INARCHing. So there you go. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate you.